All right, so we're going to take a little walk around the exterior of the house. Obviously they've done a lot of work, and overall things do appear to be in pretty good condition, but I do have several kind of issues and maintenance items and just general observations that I'm sure you'll be interested in knowing about. So up here at the front, we've got our vacuum breaker and shutoff valves for our irrigation system here, and one of those valves is cracked and needs to get replaced. We've got this little kind of door here that you can flip open, and behind there is your main water line coming into the house. So that's essentially where your main valve is located. A couple of little things like some of the exterior hose valves really could use some insulation, need those little anti-siphon devices. The patio looks to be in good shape. There's a few spots where you can see some of the paint, starting to peel or flake off. So maybe you could use a little bit of touch up, but honestly, overall, paint surfaces are in pretty good condition for this older home. We do have a few carpentry repairs though. You can see some areas here, where over time the wood is starting to rot out, and they've kind of just painted over the rot through the years, but really it's probably a situation where you're going to want to cut some of that stuff out. It does look like maybe even some of the structure or the trim and stuff that's underneath there are starting to rot out as well. So a few locations where you definitely could use some attention. Looking like pretty much most all the windows on this property are the older wood windows, caulked and painted shut, so that's probably going to be something that you might consider an upgrade with. You probably might have a few that are newer, but it does look like a lot of them are the original ones. If you're going to leave them in place, there are some maintenance needs I would recommend. You can kind of see the caulking and stuff starting to split. Some of the glazing starting to split and crack as well. And just kind of keep in mind that these are not going to be very efficient as well. So they're not horrible shape for how old they are, where they're like rotting and falling apart, but they definitely could use a little bit of maintenance, and then kind of your personal consideration on that, if that's something you want to replace or not. Something I'm going to mention as far as the crawl space, really kind of limited ventilation. You can see they've kind of like sealed off most areas with bricks or trim boards, and the areas where you actually do have access, there's really nothing stopping the critters from getting underneath and getting into the crawl space, getting into the ductwork, into the ceilings and floor cavities and stuff. So if you're gonna buy the house, I would recommend that you consider doing what you can to increase the ventilation, and then also kind of think about some skirting or netting or something to help keep the critters out. So over here at the right side of the home, some kind of nitpicky things with like trimming back the foliage and soil conditions and stuff. I'm going to be coming back to do separate videos and stuff for the pool. I'll have all the HVAC stuff in the report for you. But kind of over here on that topic, we can see obviously some areas on the wood that need a little bit of attention. I mean, there's just kind of rotted holes through there. I can see a lot of rot down in there. And then this particular unit that I'm on top of right here, that's a package unit, so it goes and it has ductwork that goes into the crawl space, and I think the critters have probably been getting down into there. I can put my hand underneath there, and there's a lot of conditioned air loss that I'm feeling underneath there, so I'm going to look and see what I can when I go into the crawl space, but I have concerns at this kind of general area for a couple different aspects. All right, so this video is starting to get a little bit long, so I'm going to stop it right here, and I'll continue a second video for the outside of the house.